Mr. Speaker, Kenya, we cannot do that. Tomorrow, they will have a problem with NEMA. They will have a problem with any other institution. Is that the way you are going to solve your disputes? So, Mr. Speaker...
What will stop them from dumping garbage and swill outside your gate?
What will stop them? The Speaker is asking me from dumping garbage in front of my house. Mr. Speaker, that's a good question. Because if I don't pay for their services also, if I don't pay their water bills on time, or I don't pay maybe their service charge on time, they can dump garbage also in front of my house. Mr. Speaker, then they tell me, until you pay your dues, we are not going to remove any garbage from in front of your house. So, Mr. Speaker, this is a new phenomena that is, we have never seen it before. So, Mr. Speaker, the governor was elected by Kenyans through the UDA party. Even though we have some symbiotic relationship with ODM, which we are not yet confirming it, because we don't know how I think there is some relationship that is not known, that we need to understand where it is heading to. But Mr. Speaker, in spite of all that, with our symbiotic relationship with the governor, we have to condemn things when they are done wrongly. And that was a wrong act on the part of the Nairobi County government, Mr. Speaker. And we are not doing this we are warning people who might attempt to do that kind of nonsense, Mr. Speaker, because it might not end with them. There are other institutions also who can do that. There are others who can lock up your house, you know, for not paying your dues or something. So, Mr. Speaker, with those few remarks, I want to say that act must be condemned and it must not be repeated again, Mr. Speaker. And if it is done, this House now will exercise its mandate of oversight. You know, Mr. Speaker, nothing constitutionally stops us from summoning governors. Yes. Nothing. There is no in the Constitution that writes governors can only be summoned by the Senate. Mr. Speaker, the Constitution says Parliament can summon anyone. Parliament. Yes. And when you say Parliament, it is both the Senate and the National Assembly. Yes. That is Parliament. Parliament can summon anybody in Kenya. Parliament. So under that provision of the Constitution, we will summon governors if they go wayward. They must stick to the rule of law, and they must respect the laws that we have put in place as a House to govern this country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Ichungwa.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Let me also join the Honorable Junet Mohammed, Minority Leader, first in condemning that act by the county government of Nairobi. And two, to ask both the county government of Nairobi and the Kenya Power and Lighting Company to get into a negotiation or some sort of dialogue to be able to resolve the issues that are before them on issues touching on pending bills, Honorable Speaker. What we have seen around Stima Plaza, Honorable Speaker, is these are criminal acts. And indeed, I was asking myself last night as I watched on TV, where are the police that should be ensuring there is law and order everywhere in the country? The Inspector General of Police must take decisive action. And it must begin with the drivers who drove those trucks there. Because, Honorable Speaker, it should be very easy for the Inspector General of Police through DCI to extract information as to who were the drivers who dumped there. From the drivers to the people who instructed them. Whether it goes all the way up to the governor, it should not matter. Because we should not entertain criminality in the guise of attempting to collect your debts from public institutions, Honorable Speaker. What would happen today, Honorable Speaker? Our constituents, some of them are waiting for bursaries, others are waiting for grade 9 classrooms to be built through NGCDF, and members of parliament are here asking for NGCDF money. What if we decided that everybody now will take the law into their hands and do whatever you want, Honorable Speaker? Are we going to have a country? The City Council of Nairobi owes businessmen and women in this country money in pending bills to the tunes of hundreds of billions. What if the people who are owed by the City County of Nairobi also tomorrow decided to go and dump their garbage outside City Hall. How would the governor of Nairobi take that? Number two, Honorable Speaker, under the integrity, it's called the EACC Act, Ethics and Integrity Act. These are not just criminal acts, but acts that go against the Integrity and Ethics Act.
Acts under the NEMA Act.
Yes, criminal acts under the NEMA Act, criminal acts under the Ethics and Integrity Act, and also criminal acts touching on economic crimes, because you are dumping garbage deliberately on a road and sewer. You will expend public resources to dump and to later clean up. It is abuse of public funds.
Yes.
And therefore, Honorable Speaker, if we allow this kind of behavior to go on unchecked, these are the same governors, Honorable Speaker, who some time back were asking that they also be given some security officers under their command. You can imagine if these governors had policemen under their command, they would trample on everyone, Honorable Speaker. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, mine is to ask the Inspector General of Police and ask him to make sure that action is taken against those people who dumped outside Stima Plaza. I also want to encourage the business people who I have seen crying on national TV, that they have restaurants they have closed down because nobody can patronize their restaurants. They must take civil action against the City County of Government of Nairobi for compensation for lost business, Honorable Speaker. Because you are closing down people's businesses. I saw the Stima Plaza. I also didn't know it's not even owned by KPLC. KPLC are tenants of Stima Plaza. It is owned by pensioners. Our mothers and fathers who worked in KPLC and Kengen, as it were before, are the owners of that building. It is their business as landlords that is being spoiled by the county government of Nairobi. And Honorable Speaker, I do hope, and in fact, Honorable Speaker, I was wishing that you could even direct the Inspector General of Police, and because the chair of the Security Committee is here, you should direct the chair of the Security Committee to summon the Inspector General of Police and explain to the committee and to this House, how can they be watching when criminality takes root unchecked and nobody is doing anything about it? All that people can be left to is crying on TV, how their business have been locked down. KPLC employees are being paid a salary, but they can't go to work. Honorable Speaker, I would beg that you direct the Security Committee of this House to pick up that matter together with the Energy Committee, with the Inspector General of Police and the ministry concerned, to make sure that there is an amicable solution to this problem. But more importantly, for the Inspector General of Police to ensure that criminal charges are leveled against those who dumped outside Stima Plaza. That is a behavior that we cannot condone. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Tongoyo, we shall not allow this country to be reduced to a Wild West behavior, whereas you disagree with somebody and you send goons and hooligans to go and sort out your mess. That is not Kenya. And you must stop it. So I direct you to summon the IG to find out why no action has been taken against this publicized criminal behavior by the city government of Nairobi. Yes, Dr. Nyikal. Hold on, Tongoyo.
Mr. Speaker, it's not only the police that we should ask. What was actually done is a public nuisance, and actually under the Public Health Act, the driver and their bosses who allowed that to open can be charged because they actually exposed people to garbage and soil, as you said, and that can easily cause an epidemic. We actually had a problem like that where some person actually were dumping things in the river, and eventually we had cholera in River Suo in Western Kenya. So it is not just a police issue. It is a major health issue, not only for the staff of Kenya Power and Lighting, but for all the people around. So I think that element should also be looked into. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Chief Whip. On the same issue?
Honorable Speaker, it is in line with what Dr. Nyikara has just said. This is actually what we've been saying, that we have created demigods in the name of governors, in the name of their excellence, Honorable Speaker. The cries of the business people around Steamer Plaza, Honorable Speaker, should not be left just like that. I saw on TV, Honorable Speaker, a lady who runs a restaurant just next to Steamer Plaza, who had no interest whatsoever to whatever happens between the county government and the Kenya Power and other business people around that area, Honorable Speaker, having it rough to even run their business, Honorable Speaker. There is even one cow, Honorable Speaker, that was towed by the county government, Honorable Speaker, that did not belong to the people, to any employee that works in the Steamer Plaza, Honorable Speaker. That is exactly what we are talking about in relation to everything that we've talked about as far as the county governments and the governors are concerned, Honorable Speaker. So I also join the majority leader and all the leaders that have spoken in saying that it's about time that we also invite those governors, perhaps in this house, or find a way to have these committees, Honorable Speaker, to investigate some of those actions. I know it's not within our mandate. We'll be acting ultra-violent.
It is within your mandate.
It is within our mandate.
Read the Constitution.
So that this committee, I'm well guided, Honorable Speaker. Article 95, I presume. And then have these relevant committees, not just the security committee, Honorable Speaker, even the committee that handles matters environment, Honorable Speaker, the committee that handles trade matters, because the business people are affected around that area. The governor and his team must face this house and explain what exactly they were trying to do and this childishness that we see. Because, Honorable Speaker, we see a lot of them, not just garbage. You see governors, Honorable Speaker, moving around with vehicles, about 30 vehicles. One vehicle carrying a carpet, another one carrying a toilet, another one carrying goons, another one carrying a chair, another one stand. Honorable Speaker, even a chair cover in barrios, and disrupting things, people's places, and disrupting people all over, Honorable Speaker. You even saw in a funeral in Kakamega, Honorable Speaker, where there is war between a governor, the senator, and then a member of parliament, Honorable Speaker, because we've created demigods, Honorable Speaker. We also call upon the police to impound these trucks. The order by the governor to just release them, Honorable Speaker, that is playing PR. That is playing to the public gallery, playing politics, and playing clean. It shouldn't be that way. The vehicles that were parked outside, the vehicles that left the garbage in that particular place, Honorable Speaker, and the vehicles that blocked the way for 3 days should be impounded and the drivers arrested and charged, Honorable Speaker, for criminal offenses. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, Tongoyo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Here, Mazara.
Honorable Speaker, I'm well guided. We are going to have the IG summon and appear before the committee next week on Thursday.
There are criminal offences committed just under the nuisance law.
Yes.
Under environmental law, under the Health Act, under the Penal Code, and several other acts of parliament. You can find up to 10 criminal acts committed with that act.
So actually, Honorable Speaker, I'm actually can't agree anymore. What actually surprises all of us here is that it should not have even reached this far without the IG taking action. And the question should be, Honorable Speaker, it should not have waited to this far. But having said that, and as you directed, Honorable Speaker, we are going to do exactly that. And I think it's an issue that should be severely punished because, Honorable Speaker, it begs a question. If this can do to an institution like KPLC, what should happen to his own political competitors? It will be actually wake every other morning. Zero has been actually and dump on your doorstep. So, Honorable Speaker, I join the rest of us to condemn that act, and we are going to do exactly as you directed. And
Thank you.
possibly, Honorable Speaker, I think Honorable Dr. Nyikal put it, possibly, I think it also goes beyond the mandate only of security. Even NEMA should be they're probably pulled into this.
Honorable Millie, you remember, and you members of parliament must take this thing seriously. When we were going for a public rally in Jacaranda grounds, you remember Governor Songo then went and emptied raw sewage on the entire field and got away with it. This House must exercise its authority. Yes, Ocheng, what is it?
Mr. Speaker, you know, we allow governors and county governments to get away with too much. If there was a single time a governor should be impeached for gross misconduct, it is now. If the Senate was serious about their job, this is the time they should impeach a governor, not for corruption, not for stealing, but for gross misconduct on the face of it. There is no reason why the governor of Nairobi should continue being in office when his officers are telling us that they did what is said to have been done. The minister, the CEC for finance was on TV yesterday saying they did this knowingly. Why should the governor be still in the office, Mr. Speaker? Number two, Mr. Speaker, on this matter, and Dongo has spoken, the idea that National Assembly cannot summon governors is illegal. We've always known this. I think this assembly must start summoning governors where they go afoul of the law. We've allowed senators to be summoning ministers. We know it's wrong, but we've allowed them to do so. I believe, Mr. Speaker, that you must give a direction that committee chairs, committees concerned should henceforth start summoning governors where they go against the law. We should not shy from summoning them because of anything. There's nothing against the law when you summon governors to come here. And after, I think the day Donde Botongo summons the IG, he must summon the governor also to come before that committee, so that these matters are handled in a manner that shows that this House has teeth and it will bite when it matters most.
Mr. Speaker, my issue is very related with the one we are discussing. These governors are becoming demigods. One, in Migori, you know there is a company called Sony Sugar. The governor of Migori has just decided to impound tractors carrying sugarcane to the factory because of some pending bills. Around 12 tractors now are in somewhere with the sugarcane in them. It shows that if we don't control these governors, they'll do anything they want and go away with it. So, Mr. Speaker, that was the burning issue that even back in Migori, the Sony Sugar are really suffering because the governor wants money from them, the cess money, which is in the pending bill, but if you don't pay, the tractors carrying sugarcane are being arrested. Do I call them arrested or compounded? And the sugarcanes are drying in those tractors simply because the Sony Sugar has not paid the levy for the county government of Migori.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, yes, Chepkonga.
Mr. Speaker, you know, you have allowed Honorable Tongoyo to call the Inspector of Police on Thursday. This is an extremely very important matter.
I have not allowed him, I've directed him.
No, he needs to be directed to call the inspector on Monday. This is a very urgent matter. We cannot allow a criminal matter to wait until next week, Mr.
Did he say next week?
He said Thursday. You should direct that they should call the inspector by Monday.
You are right. Yes, KJ, what is it?
Before the senior counsel leaves the floor, Mr. Speaker, I just wanted to find out if it is in order for a member to direct the speaker. We know the discretion of the speaker is stipulated in our first standing order, Mr. Speaker. And while he has a very important point to raise, and we all have an issue to raise, even with the governor of Nairobi City County, for the activities and the actions that he undertook, which are an embarrassment, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on the lines of Kenya Power, we are carrying cables for the last mile connectivity. And our sector, the ICT and digital economy, is depending on Kenya Power to transmit this last line connectivity of fiber to the homes of Kenyans. It is one of the biggest pillars of the Kenya Kwanza government in the Kenya Digital Master Plan. So when you go and upset a fellow agency, which is a government agency, it is a gross action by a leader, Mr. Speaker. And so if it is for the IG to appear here, I do not think it is in the place It is in the place of Honorable Chepkonga to guide you. I know, Mr. Speaker, under discretionary standing order number 1, you are wise enough to make a Solomonic decision on this issue. However, what was done by Governor SAKAJA is gross misconduct, goes against the tenets of the Constitution, even on matters to do with leadership, Mr. Speaker. And I thank you for this opportunity. I just needed to know if Honorable Chepkonga is in order
That
to
matter
direct
is
the
over.
chair.
Tongoyo, you will summon the IG on Monday. Right? Honorable members, let's end there on that. I don't know if this school is still in the public gallery. St. Jacinta Secondary School from Marakwet West, Elgeyo Marakwet. Even if they have left, for the record, we welcome them to the House of Parliament. And they have left? Okay. Next order. As they call the next order, clerk hold, I've been requested by Honorable Murugara to stay order number 14 to next week. So I order that order number 14, when it's reached, will be stayed to next week. Call the next order, order number 11.
Order number 11, the Gold Processing Bill, National Assembly Bill number 46 of 2023, second reading, resumption of debate.
Fatma Zainab of Migori, she's not here. She forfeits the opportunity. She had 4 minutes to go. Martin Owino, are you here for the gold? Go ahead. Yes, Nabi, for the bill. I've given the floor to Martin Owino. You will speak thereafter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support this bill. As it stands now, Mr. Speaker, the mining of gold in every part of the country is in a mess. But people are desperate and they are looking for how they can survive. They go into caves, these caves collapses, and many people are killed. Some are maimed and disabled because they are looking for gold. So when I look at this bill, I think it's going to bring order to the mining industry. Mr. Speaker, the bill seeks to establish the institutional and legal framework where these people who are struggling to mine gold can be put in order in terms of mining itself, collecting the gold, purification, smeltering, fabrication, and registration of the whole business. This is lacking right now. Like even in my constituency, there are small pockets of areas which are thought to have gold. And because of the desperation, people go into these areas and start mining. And sometimes, actually many times, you find this, when it rains, the holes collapses and people die. So I think in my submission, I want to thank the committee of all the observations and all the recommendations they have done to this bill, and the establishment of that regulatory framework that will put everything in order. Another time, so you find these people, when they have got the little cash they have from the mining, they also get blackmailed by people in between. In fact, if we don't come to the rescue, I hope this will be fast-tracked so that our people are not exploited as they struggle to mine the bill. So, Mr. Speaker, with those few remarks, I want to say this is a good bill, and I urge other members to support it. It will bring order and soundness to the industry, and I think out of that, the whole country will also gain in that order of business. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the bill. Mr. Speaker, as you are aware, parts of Kakamega have quite a bit of gold deposits. But Mr. Speaker, we've lost quite a number of productive people because the business has been done crudely, haphazardly, and by exploitative forces. In actual sense, Mr. Speaker, the community, the county government, and the country has lost not only people, but revenues. Mr. Speaker, some of the people who have engaged our local people into mining as basically smugglers. And this bill will not have come at a better time other than this. And therefore, I want to thank Honorable Shinali and the members of the committee for processing this bill to this House. Mr. Speaker, when we have mining of gold, and we know in this country, western part of Kenya, which has been discriminated in other development, I see this as a God-sent opportunity that no one can take away from us. That if we can realign, we can smoothen, we can have a legal framework to mine gold, then we are going to improve the lives of our people. We are going to improve the per capita income of the people in Lurambi in Kakamega, the people in Ikolomani in Kakamega, the people in Bondo and other parts of Siaya, the people in Migori, and some parts of Homa Bay. This therefore provides a platform, even for the ministry and the Department of Mining and Geology, to go further and find other areas in Western Kenya that have deposits of gold. Mr. Speaker, I was really concerned 2 weeks ago in Shinyalu, where we lost 2 people and 18 others were injured because they were mining gold crudely. Mr. Speaker, I also want to bring to your notice an individual I know who has made billions of money from the mines in Ikolomani, but unfortunately for us, Mr. Speaker, the people who mine are paid meager earnings, and the government does not earn any revenue. For this reason, Mr. Speaker, I support the bill.
Honorable Dick Maungu.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity given that I may also add my voice on this important bill. Mr. Speaker, from the onset, I wish to really applaud my good brother, Honorable Ben Shinali, and the committee for having come up with such a progressive bill. Gold is an important resource. Mr. Speaker, Kenya is one of those few countries that God has blessed with this rare resource. And therefore, a law that comes in to kind of put order and protect the small miners is highly welcome, Mr. Speaker. My good friend, Brother Nabi, forgot to mention that apart from Kakamega, Vihiga, Luanda is one of those areas that have been identified as potentially full of gold deposits, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, this bill will not only go to protect other counties, Mr. Speaker, but my people in Luanda, a place known as Mwibona Ward, in Maloba in South, and other areas, Mr. Speaker, we have these gold deposits. But for a long time, Mr. Speaker, our young men have been abused and misused by the so-called cartels who've taken advantage of these young people for lack of legislation and some framework within which they can do their processing, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, this bill moves in to bring order and sanity, Mr. Speaker, as we shall give protection to these people who actually do mining at that low level, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as late as last Saturday, we buried one of our great men who died in the process of gold mining. And we have lost very many young men and men, Mr. Speaker, who every other day move into these mines trying to secure an economic venture out of the mines, Mr. Speaker. In the process, the mines collapse. Sometimes they are covered within, Mr. Speaker, never to be seen again. And this leaves young widows, leaves young children without parents, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, having this bill that will ensure the environment within which gold is mined is safe, Mr. Speaker, will go a long way in ensuring there's integrity, a long way, Mr. Speaker, in ensuring that the artisanal miners, Mr. Speaker, are equally enabled on how they can be trained, they can be facilitated, Mr. Speaker, so that brokers and cartels don't take over the industry. Therefore, I rise to support and say thank you to my good brother Shinali for a well-thought bill at a point in time. Thank you.
Honorable Ferdinand Wanyonyi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to take this opportunity to talk about this particular bill, I think said by your brother from the area, and I'm also from the neighborhood of the gold mine in Kakamega. And I think quite a number of things, Mr. Speaker, should be done, and be done very urgently. First and foremost, I think I was reading a paper some times back, and I was told, it's about 2-3 weeks ago, that Africa is still very good at natural resources. And they have yet to be exploited, they have yet to be, we don't even have any structure in doing the mining of some of these natural resources in Kenya. And this particular area, the gold mine, and I think those years when I was very young, and it was even in school, that actually it was the best in Africa. The only thing is that there's very poor infrastructure. Sure, and I think I've had some committees that actually are involved. And Mr. Speaker, the area is just, you know, anybody can walk in, even you and I can walk in there and say, okay, I want to do it, so long as you give some tips to the people who are around there. And those people can now go in there and do the mining. So there's very poor infrastructure. I want to take this, that the administrative unit of this country, with the leadership of the area, including my brother who has actually proposed this bill, should be able to sit down with the gold mining interests, those who have come from outside the country. I understand there are even Japanese there, Chinese there, to sit around and be able to organize the way this particular mining can be done. And I can tell you, it's just not going to offer jobs to our people. It's also going to earn us a lot of foreign exchange, because gold is one of the very precious metal in the world. And even you can see even this speaker here, this, you look at it, is all but gold, very precious. And therefore, I think the best thing to do, and I want to ask my brother Shinali to be able, because we are depending on you as a leader in the area, do you organize yourselves and be able to have the administrative unit to be able to organize the whole place? Because it's very, very unfortunate. There are people who actually are looking for jobs and there are no jobs. And that's why the boys and girls that rushed there died, because all they are looking for is an income. And therefore, I think my suggestion is that we sit down and be able to organize ourselves so that apart from that particular mining, the other exploration, that's why the Europeans actually, you and I have read history, rushed to Africa, because Africa had all the natural resources. And I can tell you, even where we are now in Africa, in Nairobi, maybe there are gold mines, we can always get gold here, but we have to organize ourselves. And I think the biggest problem today is that we pass this bill, Mr. Speaker, let's get organized so they can be able to see what we can do on this particular bill and be able to assist the locals, because they are looking for income. And you can't blame them. So I want to say that much as we are mourning those young men who died, I can't blame them. They were rushing there because of the source of income. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I want to say we get ourselves organized. I think the Ministry of Mining, it should be taken there and be in charge of organizing the whole mining structure so that we don't have a repeat of this for the benefit of this country and for the benefit of the people from Kakamega and the benefit of the people who actually are surrounded that place, including you and I. And therefore, I support this and ask the Member of Parliament to take leadership like you have done now, not because you saw people dying, but for the future of this country, so that you're on record to be able to assist our people and the ministry so can do proper mining of the area. Mr. Speaker, I want to support this. Thank you.
The Honorable Samuel Atandi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to make my submissions on this bill. Honorable Speaker, I rise to say that the Gold Processing Bill 2023 has come to this floor of the House at the right time, and the bill is timely because of the issues the bill is seeking to correct. Honorable Speaker, when you hear about gold, you basically think gold basically is about money and wealth. But Honorable Speaker, when you go down to listen to the people involved in the mining of gold in the villages, Honorable Speaker, you would be surprised the kind of the nature of the workers that are working in those environments. Honorable Speaker, gold miners are some of the poorest workers in this country. And gold mining is not beneficial to the miners, principally because, one, Honorable Speaker, the returns that the miners receive from this work does not come. One of the reasons why the returns are not there is because of the existence of middlemen in the sector. One of the things which this bill is seeking to correct, the establishment of the Gold Processing Corporation, which is one of the most fundamental articles in this bill. Gold Mining Corporation is going to help us to ensure that their safety measures are in place, and therefore there's going to be order. The other thing, Honorable Speaker, I spoke about the returns. Honorable Speaker, if a sector is not organized and properly regulated, then it goes therefore that even the workers in that sector will never be able to get proper returns. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, if you travel to places in Siaya, sections of many parts of Siaya County, my constituency specifically, you find that there are many segments of the constituency where miners are working daily. And, when you go into those places, Honorable Speaker, there are no equipments. The gold mining is a mechanical exercise. It's a manual exercise. So, Honorable Speaker, by this bill seeking to create this corporation, one of the things that they're seeking to do is to also seek to introduce technology and, make this process, seamless, commercialized, make it even, bring equipment that are able to be used to mine gold in a way that even the environment is protected. Honorable Speaker, there are some parts of my constituency where gold miners are working. We had a situation where we got one of our roads, getting demolished because the way the miners go around, they are mining underground. Honorable Speaker, the mining starts here, but these people will go up to Nyayo Stadium on the ground. Now, in the process, you find that they've passed a place where there's a road, a tarmac road. The tarmac road is actually going down because of the mining activities. So I think part of the reason is because the technical capacity to guide where the minerals exist, the gold exists, is not there. So I think this bill is really, really important, and I want to ask members of this House to really pass this bill quickly, to allow this bill to be in action for the safety of the people involved in the mining sector, and also to ensure that people involved in the mining sector are getting returns. One of the things that this bill has not addressed is compensation for people who are donating their lands for mining. In my constituency, I'm having cases where, Honorable Speaker, there's conflict between landowners where gold deposits have been detected. when these gold deposits are detected in a particular area, then of course the miners, the people who want to mine come to sign agreements. These agreements are not tested. And in a short while, you find there's conflict. People are fighting, people are saying, I'm going to buttress the agreement we made. So I think one of the things that we need to do is to connect with this bill is to see how we can be able to resolve such cases of conflict for the benefit of the miners and the benefit of the country. Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I support.
The Honourable James Nyikal.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I arise to support this bill. Mr. Speaker, artisanal gold mining, which is the small scale where people go without experience, is rampant. It is actually all over the country, but mainly in Western Kenya. You find it in Kakamega County, Vihiga County, Kisumu County, Migori County, Siaya County, and even in West Pokot. But if you look at the West Kenya, it's actually probably a gold belt. If you look at it where it comes from Kakamega, Vihiga, in Kisumu County, in Seme, and it goes to Bondo, and it basically just goes across the lake into Migori. So we may be dealing with a geological gold belt that is actually being underutilized and underexploited. And therefore, we have to look at it. And Mr. Speaker, even the way it is done
Honourable
now,
Nyikal, I hope the mover of the bill is in the House and is listening to you.
Is here, and I really appreciate the work
When
he
you
has
see
done.
the move of the belt from Migori through Homa Bay, through the lake, through Nyamula in Uyoma,
yes,
the bit of Seme,
yes,
through to Ikolomani.
It is actually...
Which is the corrupted, I hear, Shinali people's name for gold mine, Ikolomani.
Yes.
Ikolomani. So if you look at it, there could be a belt we are talking about there.
So, Mr. Speaker, if that belt is there, it actually needs to be exploited so that we get it mined in a professional manner with all the issues that need to be looked at. It will actually generate employment and actually generate more wealth to the people themselves, and even to the government will then get taxes, and it will be. Currently, the process is actually destructive in most ways. What people are concerned about most is actually when the mines collapse, because these young people are working underground. They don't have the skills or even the resources to actually protect the mines as they go deep inside. Mr. Speaker, the other thing is it actually distracts children from education. So children actually abandon going to school to go and work in these mines. So it has a very dangerous effect. Mr. Speaker, when they go underneath the equipment they use, they actually go under there with generators. And actually, sometimes people die from just carbon monoxide poison, carbon poisoning, because of the smokes that come from the generators. These are all things that we really are not looking at. But it's not only that danger. The danger we all know about is the collapse. But the way they do it with their hands, open hands, when they are doing the spanning, there are a lot of health hazards. The chemicals that are used, mercury, is very poisonous, neurologically extremely poisonous. Arsenic is a slow killer. Arsenic can actually be used to poison people. And those are the things that are used. Lead that they use in gold mining is actually very toxic to the kidneys. And some of these people may actually gradually die slowly of kidney failure. Cyanide is an acute poisoning. But then the dust itself, the silica, the dust, when they go there under dust for a very long time, then of course they inhale the dust, and actually it is dangerous to the lungs. So maybe in their old age, under 40s and so on, you start seeing people dying of chronic lung disease, and which can even go into heart disease. And may be difficult to actually relate it to the activities that they have gone through. So this actually it's it's a very dangerous thing. So, Mr. Speaker, I think not only that, some of these chemicals are actually carcinogenic. They are cancer causing. And some of them actually have the effect of even affecting unborn babies. Mercury in particular is known for doing that. So the dangers are numerous. The returns are not that good because of the exploitation. These young people, it's men, women, they go into this. The outlet they have is actually controlled by middlemen, so that they actually are not even getting the money they should get. So, Mr. Speaker, I support this because if you look at the creation of this corporation with the board, and if you look at clause 6 of this bill, I think that is where the whole thing lies. If you look at the functions under clause 6, Mr. Speaker, everything we'll need to look at, the structures for doing it, the standards for mining, the materials for mining, the licensing for mining, and when they give the licenses, then of course we can look at the health hazards. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I support this bill, and we'll have to actually look at it in fair amount of detail, because it is not only going to protect the health of our people, improve their livelihood, but also generate more income for the country and taxes. So this is an extremely important bill, Mr. Speaker, I support.
The Honorable Joseph Oyula, the only MP who understands money best in Parliament.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, let me also add my voice to this bill. It's a very important bill because some of us in our areas, we have suffered greatly because of this gold mining. Let me add here, Mr. Speaker, that gold is also in Busia. That stretch from Kakamega crosses through Busia up to Uganda. In fact, right now, we have a fear because some Chinese are mining gold, and we suspect they have crossed the border into Kenya through that underground. So there is a big fear there at the border. The major problem, Mr. Speaker, here is we don't have any regulators. Anything gold is messy because both the young men who are used are never properly compensated. They are never protected well. They only go down there to follow the routes of how to get the gold, but come out, some die inside there because of some of the chemicals that they use. So, Honorable Speaker, it is important that this exercise is regulated. So this cooperation that has been mentioned in the bill, Mr. Speaker, will be very important. It should be given the teeth because, like in Busia, and particularly in my constituency, I had a lot of problems with those gold prospectors. If you ask them for any license, they don't have. Any permit, they don't have. They just tell you that we have authority from the above. Who is the above? So we now need to make sure that that authority can be seen. Representation at the counties should be made sure that we have the respective ministry having representatives at the county. Because without any regulation and without any representation, we have had a lot of problems. For instance, from our area, you go to Kakamega, where we hope that there is a representation in the ministry, yet there's nothing. So this bill, Honorable Speaker, is going to help us a lot. It's going to help people at the border because this thing runs into Uganda, and from Uganda, they are going deep, deep, deep into the soils in Kenya. So we need to support this bill, Mr. Speaker, so that our people can be protected. The environment also, Mr. Speaker. When these people dig there, ditches down there. They don't care what is left. Some have gone into school compounds, and they leave big trenches in the school compounds, which is very dangerous for the students. So we need such a regulation so that, and a corporation that can manage this for the country properly. So I stand to support this bill, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable Dr. Naomi Wako.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. This is a very interesting debate and bill because of especially the areas that have some gold, like my county, whereby a place called Dabel, for the last 5 years, gold, miners have been there trying to get and also grow their wealth. Unfortunately, Honorable Speaker, like in my place, many people have lost their lives. So as a result of that, many have been widowed and orphans. The number of orphans have increased in my county simply because we do not have a bill on gold processing that can help. And that is why I want to say that I support and I am for this bill so that the poor people in different parts of this country who are trying to do mining, who are trying to create their own wealth, grow their wealth, and get rich, can be able to do that. Honorable Speaker, the idea of having license and having cooperatives in place that can manage this is one thing that is that we should all support, because currently, like in my place, people just go and they try to do what they can without any knowledge, without any license and other things. And even when they die, no one can be able to pay them back, and it is like they have no right. And maybe they were even there unlawfully. But if this bill will be passed, then whoever will be there will be under certain cooperation, whereby the corporation will be able to take care of individuals, those who are licensed, and the corporation can also be able to guide them on what to do. Honorable Speaker, under the corporation, part 2 of the bill says the headquarters of the corporation shall be in Nairobi. The corporation may establish offices in other counties, meaning that even if the headquarters will be in the city, the other branch offices can be in every county that maybe gold mining or gold processing is done. This will help us a lot because it will reduce the risk, and it will also protect the people who are involved in the business, so that even when anything or any unfortunate thing happens, they can be well protected. Honorable Speaker, again, under 11, you can see 2A, a person shall be qualified for appointment as chairperson or member under subsection 1G if the person is citizen of Kenya, holds degree, and also I think we just need to add that maybe if all the areas that have gold processing can be represented so that their interest can be well protected. Honorable Speaker, for the last many years, many Kenyans who have involved themselves in gold mining, gold processing, have suffered in the hands of the cartels, simply because there are those rich people who are somewhere and the miners are there. They try very much to dig the gold, harvest, and sell, at a very cheap price. And yet there are these middlemen who are here paying money and collecting the entire thing and even selling at a higher price. Once we do this and this bill will be in place, then their interest will be very much protected. They'll be able also to earn from their hard work. Then the counties will also not be left. I'm sure some percentage will be given to the even beneficiary, local community around there, some 10-15%, so that they can be able to benefit. Honorable Speaker, this is a bill that needs to be done quickly, and the President needs to assent so that Kenyans can be able to benefit from this. And also, we know very well that all the areas that gold have been, spotted or seen, many people and the countries, different countries, have grown rich because of gold and the sale of gold and all these other things. And unfortunately, in Kenya, we have not put rules and regulations in place. We have not put laws that can guide us, can guide even the government in place. And that is why we need to do this. And I support this bill so that we debate on it, we finalize, and people will be given their license. They should also start their own corporations, so that through the corporations, then all the individuals or the companies can benefit, and also see how this can be done in a way that the miners or the people who are involved will not suffer, because currently they suffer a lot because they use their hands to dig, they go down there, and that is why many times in our own place, many people have lost their lives because they are not protected, they don't know what to do, but they know that once they harvest enough gold, they'll be able to transform their lives. Honorable Speaker, with those few remarks, I support this bill, and it is my prayer that many Kenyans' life will be transformed through this. Thank you.
The Honorable Geoffrey Mulanya Wakili.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to speak about this gold processing bill 2023. Mr. Speaker, when you mention the word gold, in the minds of many Kenyans, it sounds that that's the gateway to riches. And that's why you will find that in many parts of where we are having these crude gold mining activities, we have scramble that leads sometimes to death. And perhaps it is very important that this particular bill is brought by a member representing a constituency that is a gold mine, the Honorable Shinali. We thank you for thinking it wise to bring, because you have more experience on what has happened to your constituents. And recently we saw actually what happened, that we lost we almost lost lives of good Kenyans in this particular gold mines. Mr. Speaker, as it was said by Honorable Nikal, who is a health expert, the underlying issues that go unnoticed. In most instances, we talk about miners trapped underground, but people forget to talk about the health hazards that go with this crude gold mining. It is a requirement under the law that any person in a construction work must put on protective gear. However, without regulations, we have these crude gold miners, they go underground without any protection whatsoever. And at the end, as much as they come out of the gold mines alive, they pick up some chronic diseases that will affect them, and slowly they'll die from their homes. And Mr. Speaker, we have followed from the western region, areas where this prospective gold mining or crude gold mining is being undertaken. And in particular, Mr. Honorable Yula has mentioned that in Busia we have a crude gold mining activity in an area called Bumutiru, which is in the Butla constituency, that neighbors Nambali constituency. And what we have experienced, we find that many people abandon their farm work. They abandon their families. They go to prospect on gold mining, and in the end, they come back empty-handed. They waste valuable time that they will be working on their farms so that they can support their family. What they come back with is something that cannot support even to feed their family for a week. That particular time, if it was to be put to proper use by working on their farm, perhaps it could be meaningful. And for that reason, I support the proposal to have the gold mining corporation so that this corporation can put order to this particular sector. Let's have a proper geological study to confirm that the prospects of gold in that particular area is worth the mining, and also the regulations that any person to undertake this mining must, first of all, follow the safety precautions that are required for any construction site. Mr. Speaker, we also know that our government is losing revenue. This is a hard time that we don't have enough revenue in this country to support even NGCDF. We don't have money because of the hard economic times. But when we have resources like gold that is being smuggled, the government is not benefiting. The local government is also not benefiting. The land is being degraded because when they dig tunnels underground, the land becomes weaker. The soil topography is also interfered with. So there are so many things that are lined up so that we need to control. And as a house, this is the most important time that we put this in control, because where there are no regulation, there's disorder. And indeed, there's a lot of disorder in gold mining in this country that is leading to death, leading to poverty, which we as legislators, we are under duty to control. And I thank the Honorable Shinali for, and the committee for bringing up this bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I support the bill.
Honorable Peter Francis Masara, you want to speak to this?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Of course, you know, my name is Masara, and Masara area has a lot of gold. So that's the reason why I have to add my voice on what has been said by other members. Mr. Speaker, this bill is very important. This bill will enable the artisan miners to get what is rightfully theirs. Mr. Speaker, currently as we speak, those miners, this area is unregulated. There are so many cartels. There are so many people who purport to have licenses, and they are actually doing things which are not in law. We have Chinese, especially in Migori, the Masara area, Osiri area, in Kuria, in Rongo, where gold is found. You'll get so many people doing so many cartels, actually undermining the work of our real people who are really suffering and working hard so that they can earn a living. Mr. Speaker, the importance of this bill, as per what I've read, if you look at clause 42, clause 42 of the bill talks of an application for the renewal of processing license shall contain the information or accompanied by the following document, Mr. Speaker. The proposed program for processing operation to be carried out during the term of renewal. 2, a plan of the area in respect on which renewal of this processing license is sought. And 3, an approved environmental impact assessment license, social heritage assessment, environmental management plan in respect of the applicant's proposal where required under this law. Mr. Speaker, currently, you get even in school, like in my area, there's a school called Arombe. People are doing mining within the school because that land belongs to somebody. There's no regulation. You get areas where people are taking water, natural water. People doing processing there, and the chemical used are affecting the community, but there's no regulator. Mr. Speaker, with this bill coming into an act, I believe the people involved in mining are going to appreciate us as legislators. Mr. Speaker, if you go to clause 48, and actually I want to be very specific about the laboratories. Currently, that is clause 48, 1D. Mr. Speaker, in my area, the laboratory which is being used majorly by the people doing mining is in Tanzania. So it means we are losing a lot of revenue to the Tanzanian government because people leave Migori, they go to Tanzania to take the sampling, and even the people involved are not professional, Mr. Speaker. There are people who have done this mining for a long time and they have the experience. So they come, they check the land, they do blah, blah, they talk what, and then they continue exploiting our people. Mr. Speaker, being this bill is proposing that there will be headquarters in Nairobi, but there are other offices at the county level. It means the people involved in mining, the artisan miners, will get opportunity to interact with professionals from the corporation. Mr. Speaker, by and large, as you have mentioned, gold is being done in Kenya. But in terms of revenue it's generating, currently nobody knows. Because even the issue of transporting it, the issue of standardization of the gold in Kenya today is still a mirage. So with this bill in place, I believe so many gaps are going to be filled. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, without taking much of your time, I want to say that I support the bill and congratulate my colleague for bringing this bill into the August House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Florence Yamatia.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. I also want to add my voice to this bill and congratulate my friend and colleague, Shinali, Honorable, for such a good thought. I see the bill was brought, I mean, these are 2023 bill, so it means it is a good time for us to look into it. Mr. Speaker, if you ask me, I think apart from doing this bill, we also need to put into consideration most of the other natural resources that we have in this country. In where I come from, I think we have very sporadic areas of gold that has not been fully utilized and harnessed properly. But we have other minerals. We have rupees, you know, we have other small pockets of, sometimes we are told there's oil here and there because of the nature of our environment. It's a desert area. But gold, in many ways, is considered to be one of the owners of production. I mean, wealth, depending on who discovered gold first. So we realize that even as we do this, we should also consider other minerals so that we have a bill that is packaged together that helps protect all types of minerals we have in this country. Recently, we discovered cobalt in eastern Kenya, I think Meru area and Embu. And as even we look forward, I think we need to do more to make sure we are protecting this, because this is an act of parliament that is, we will be working hand in hand with the mining act that is already in place. And as we do that, I would probably ask the committee, use a committee to help us do another, bring all the minerals so that we can do this thing and lock it properly for our safety and future. Mr. Speaker, growing up, we used to be told sometimes it is not good to touch what God has given you and use it as a reservoir in the future. Many times when you look at these countries that have exploited minerals, it has acted as a curse or, it has brought problems. And many times it is not about the people who are actually mining and doing all this. It is the people who are beneficiaries, the cartels, the international groups that they come and buy it in exploiting people. And this bill is going to help us to curb that problem. And if you look at the bill speaks for itself, that it is going to establish for the establishment and composition, functions, and management of gold processing corporation and also provide for the application, cancellation, and renewal of gold processing license, and for also connecting purposes. This is going to be a very good link from the people who are mining and the communities there in terms of royalties, how many royalties should be going to the community. And this cooperation is going to be a good link for government and international. But if you look at it keenly again, Mr. Speaker, you realize this is also act as a framework, which is going to give the framework. And as it does that, it can also regulate and act as a beneficiary at the same time. If you look at clause on part of gold processing corporation, the corporation act as number 8, functions of the corporation shall be to collect, sample, purify, smelt, fabricate, homogenize, make it homogeneous, sample, register, refine, monitor, and transport gold or gold products. And at the same time, it says it is to facilitate international accreditation. So you cannot be almost like a beneficiary and regulator at the same time. I think that is, in my opinion, the bill should also come out very clearly, whether this is a company, because if it says it's going to be helping to transport and monitor all those kind of, act as a regulator. And it also act as a company because it also wants to sell, help you sell. So again, it should come out very clearly that how many gold sites do we have specifically in Kenya, so that even if I am an international buyer, through the corporation, I should be directed to the sites that I want, the quantity that I want, and all that. As much as I have not gone through the bill all full, I have cited that there are areas that, as a regulator, you should also bring out in circumstances where the miners, specifically the people who are in the locality, are affected with the side effects of exposure of these minerals. What happens from there? Is the corporation going to be liable? Is it going to take care? Is it going to build and take care of these people through insurance and help them? For instance, if people die today in the gold mining sites, are they going to be given compensation through the corporation? All those things, I think, should come out very clear. But generally, if you ask me as a leader, we need to have a proper consortium on all the minerals. The government of today should be able to do proper ground truthing. Tell us how many minerals can we find in Kenya? So that going in the future, we should be not just waking up in the morning and mining everywhere. We should be able to say, we are mining along Western this time to give a room for these other areas. Because mining, once you mine, you might not get it. It's not something that it is regenerating itself. It is wealth that once you touch it, you're most likely going to, exploit it more. And it's going to deplete. So what happens? Suppose we depleted all the minerals, like gold here, as much as we are putting in this process, what happens in the future? So we need to have it because we should probably, through the corporation, we need to have our reservoirs. We don't have to sell all the gold. We can also put it as our banks. In the banks to act as a, in the future, the dollar might not be there. We can also trade using it as one of a backup of survival in the future. We never know what happens at the dynamism of the world today. Otherwise, Mr. Speaker, I support, and probably if given opportunity, we can do proper amendments and make it clear to the people who are going to consume. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The MP for Kitui Rural, the Honorable David Boni.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving this opportunity to also support the bill. Mr. Speaker, I think this bill is very important because gold mining, and most of the mining in this country, have been done in Juakali way or informally. And the bill establishing is trying to establish of gold processing corporation and also contains provision for relating to application of licenses to mine and process gold. Mr. Speaker, many of the miners who are mining these golds, they are actually poorly earn from the process of mining due to middle people. Because when they mine, most of them, they may not even know what kind of gold in terms of quality. And there are so many middlemen in this sector. Mr. Speaker, many times you hear people have been conned, people have been sold gold. And at the end of the day, you realize it's not even gold. I remember one time my uncle was sold gold. But when he went to the house, he found it was salt. So a lot of people have also lost a lot of money because of this kind of activities. The miners suffer from diseases, especially chest diseases, and of course they cannot pay for their medical bills because of the poor earning they are earning. So if the bill is going to establish a society to help them negotiate and fight for their rights, I think this bill is a very important one. Because they are going to earn what they deserve. But Mr. Speaker, following what other members have said, all minerals in this country should be processed in the country. I remember, for example, gold is sold in raw form. Anybody who knows titanium, which is being mined in Kilifi, no, not Kilifi, in Kwale, the titanium, the person or the company which is mining titanium is collecting all the titanium and taking it to processing somewhere in China. And you know, titanium is a very valuable mineral because it's used in making watches, which we have. It's also used in making some parts of aircrafts. And these are very valuable products. So if we are processing the minerals here ourselves, one, we are going to create jobs. Two, we are going to get income. Three, we are going to have economic growth in the country. So as we embark on this bill, we also need to think about processing other products, other minerals in this country, so that Kenyans can earn what is due to us. Mr. Speaker, government should also embark on mining other minerals. Kitui County is the third potentially rich county in this country because we have limestone, plenty of it. We have iron ore, we have coal, and we have copper. The coal we have in Kitui can light this country for 30 years without using anything else. Can you imagine coal lighting this country for 30 years? How fast we can grow. When you have coal and you have iron ore, then you can start steel industry. So as much as we are saying that we don't have the country is poor, but we are also not looking at the areas, at the sectors of mining, where this country has a lot of minerals. The oil in Turkana, I don't know what happened. We were meant to know that there was a lot of oil in Turkana. Maybe somebody may be in a position to tell us what happened. So, Speaker, this bill is very important, and we need to support it. But of course, we also need to think about other minerals. Thank you very much. I support.
The Honorable Geoffrey Rocco.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to give some contribution as far as the bill on the gold processing is concerned. Mr. Speaker, mining sector in the Republic of Kenya is one of very underperforming sector. A sector which can go a long way in creating jobs, in raising the revenue of this country, and also providing the foreign exchange which we seriously need as a nation. Mr. Speaker, not only the gold, we have other many minerals which we need to put more investment and come up with proper regulations or laws to regulate all these minerals we have in the Republic of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, the establishment, as far as this bill is concerned, the establishment of the corporation which will be dealing with the issues to do with gold processing is one of the very critical factor which is necessary because at the moment it is true we have gold miners in the Republic of Kenya. We have people who are doing business in this republic as far as gold is concerned. And always there is a lot of conning, a lot of scamming in gold business. Therefore, Mr. Speaker,
Honorable Mutuse.
Yes.
Honorable Mutuse was this side, eh? Okay. I thought you wanted to cross directly, so if you intend to cross, you have to do the right thing.
Mr. Speaker, I was saying the establishment of the corporation to regulate the gold business, the gold processing, is very important because, as you know, gold business is an international trade, and the international standards should be facilitated in the most appropriate way. Appropriate licenses should be given and verified. Verification of some of these licenses are critical. You will find that there are areas in Africa where gold is plenty, but the consequences are dire in terms of that gold can be war gold or black gold. Many people may have lost their lives in the process of mining gold, and selling it may be facilitating that kind of trade for war and even armed dealings. Mr. Speaker, having a corporation which puts in place rules and regulations, how to acquire licenses, how to ensure international accreditation is well facilitated, how the tests are done, how the grading is done, the purification and smelting of gold, the refining of gold, and even the transportation is one of a very critical institution which will ensure that even we have more investors in this trade in the Republic of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, I listened to the former Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya mentioning or saying that President William Ruto is in business of gold with one of the leaders in Sudan. That is a reckless statement, an extremely reckless statement coming from the former impeached Deputy President. And now that we are discussing about a gold bill, it is important maybe to mention that this is an international trade with credible buyers or sellers or traders. And it is high time for the Republic now, through the National Assembly, to ensure we have a properly regulated business conducted. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I support this bill. I support this bill. It is well crafted, but also we will need to look at other minerals. We have mica, we have coltan in Bere, we have mica in Bere, Mr. Speaker. We have aquamarines in Bere. We have many other, we have bismuth in Bere. We have many other, we have even iron and copper in Bere. And I think if we can come up, or if this National Assembly can come up with a law regulating all these minerals so that we can take advantage as a nation as far as our minerals of the Republic of Kenya are concerned, I think we can be even in a position to repay some of these debts which are killing the economy of the Republic of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, I support. Thank you.
The Honorable John Waluke.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me also a chance to contribute to this very important bill. The cold processing bill, which is very important, Honorable Speaker, to this country. If our government can seriously take measures to make sure that this bill has succeeded. I urge the House, Honorable Speaker, to pass this bill. Honorable Speaker, I've raised to support this bill because the MP, and also thank the MP for Ikolomani, Honorable Shinali, for bringing it up. It is due on time, Honorable Speaker, because our country needs to grow economically. This bill can grow the economy of this country, Honorable Speaker, and I'm happy always to say, I'm a proud Kenyan, to say that our country has a lot of minerals, natural minerals like oil. Honorable Speaker, I used to be in the military myself, and we used to keep peace for the visitors who came to do survey for oil in this country, Honorable Speaker. Those days, and there are so many areas that were discovered that has oil, like Bokot, like Marsabit, like Baringo, like Moyale, like even in the ocean, Honorable Speaker. And sometimes because of maybe lack of enough security, because when you drill oil, we are lucky that the oil from Arab countries, Honorable Speaker, if we drill enough oil, they will also have a problem to have oil in their area because we are in the lower side. Honorable Speaker, I keep on asking myself many times that there are cartels in this country, Honorable Speaker, who buys gold from our miners. And Honorable Speaker, I keep on asking myself that who is the cartel? Who is the cartel? Who buys this gold that the miners in this country always struggle to get? Some, even the miners die in those mining holes. Where does this gold get sold to? Honorable Speaker, because this country could be rich. Those days it used to be this Indian who used to buy gold at that time, Honorable Speaker, but he moved from this country to Nigeria. Honorable Speaker, the country should be serious and control, regulate the licenses of those who wants to get license for the mining of such an important mineral like gold and other minerals, Honorable Speaker. Because Patin, that time it was Patin who used to buy. But these days we don't know who buys it. And that is the question I keep on asking myself, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, there are people who get license behind the government knowing, and the government should be very strict, Honorable Speaker, because I witnessed this with Chinese when Honorable Shinali called us to witness when they were commissioning the company that is going to do this. I attended, I saw some machines, and I was very happy that this gold is going to help us as a country. Honorable Speaker, with those few remarks, I support this bill. Thank you.
Honorable Stephen Mogaka.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to also contribute. And I want to thank the sponsor of this bill for bringing a bill that is going to help regulate a hitherto unregulated industry. We know, Mr. Speaker, that gold mining in this country has been done majorly by individual experts who know how to identify gold, but the beneficiaries are always people who are not directly involved in the search, mining, identification, and production of this gold. We also know, Mr. Speaker, that the gold miners in this country, whether in Kakamega, Makalda, or everywhere, these are volunteers who, by inheritance or by reason of being proximate to the gold mines, have sacrificed and put their lives on the line to go into those underground tunnels to try and get gold. This bill, as much as I support it, requires serious amendment to make provision for the very people who put their life in danger and sink into the below the surface in hunt for gold. Mr. Speaker, if this bill has to be passed by this Parliament, I want to see amendments made to create capacity building for these traditional miners to be trained and be equipped with guns that can be able to identify the gold when they are down there, rather than going on a wild goose chase and bringing stones which in their mind or their view or their eyes appear like gold, and when they bring them to the market, they get conned. Even if it is gold, they are told it is not gold, and they are shortchanged and do not get value for their risk and for their value. Mr. Speaker, this bill, when I look at its citation, and it tells us that it seeks to establish a gold processing corporation and provide for the application and licensing of those actors in the gold industry. It is a noble thing. You will recall, Mr. Speaker, that this country has been treated to scandals about gold. Many a times, people have been associated with stones which are described as gold, and whenever they get to the true gold market, they turn out to be either not gold or they get shortchanged. This bill is going to help Kenyans who are involved in trading in gold to be clear in their mind on how to operate and who will be the licensed dealers in this gold, so that Kenyans do not get shortchanged and lose their efforts and investment in the search for gold. Mr. Speaker, gold is the most valuable mineral that we have. And as much as we are today processing this bill that deals with the mineral called gold, we have several other minerals in this republic that benefit this country and even abroad that need also regulation. And I think I will be making an initiative to promote bills that are going to deal with the traditional minerals, including clay, which is a major input for manufacturing bricks. Minerals like, in my mother tongue, we call it likoro, which produces gravel that gravels most of our roads. And many a times, the owners or the producers of these minerals, like clay, like the gravel, do not get value for their money. It is time that the 13th Parliament legislated to protect the owners of the clay that manufactures bricks and other valuable construction material, the owners of gravel that helps gravel most of our roads, and to make sure that these locals also get to benefit. Mr. Speaker, I want to emphasize on capacity building, because we have certain areas designated as gold mines. I don't know for what reason. Unless we capacitate our people to be able to identify gold or to identify various other minerals which may be lying unidentified and discovered in this republic, and which, if exploited, would expand our GDP, then we will not be putting this country on a competitive platform in the international market. Because gold is traded in the international market, it helps create our national reserves, particularly in the banking sector, and it is important that other minerals that help manufacture cement, that help manufacture steel, all these minerals need to be mainstreamed, and it is up to this legislature to come up with bills such as the gold bill that we are dealing with today, to make sure that every particular mineral in this republic is covered by legislation that ensures that not only the owners or the people who originate from that mineral deposit get value for their money, but the Republic of Kenya gets value for money. And with those remarks, Mr. Speaker, and on behalf of the people of West Mugrango constituency, to whom I'm indebted, I support this particular bill. Thank you for the permission to speak.
Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Education and Research, the Honorable Julius Meli.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I stand to support this bill and thank Honorable Washali, who has seen it right that the gold processing sector or the gold sector in this country be regulated, be organized, and be further developed. This bill, Honorable Speaker, is long overdue. I do remember one time that the government did a resource mapping known as the Natural Resource Information Mapping System in 2016. During that time, it was found out that this country has huge deposits of several kinds of minerals. And the minerals we have has been enumerated by my colleagues, from iron ore, coal, oil deposits, rare earth metals, and all these other kinds of minerals. Honorable Speaker, you need to note that this bill is trying to address gold processing in this country, which has not been addressed for quite some time. The issue, Mr. Speaker, is that all the minerals in our country, and I think this is an area which the Ministry of Mining and this House need to look into. We've concentrated so much on agricultural production. We've concentrated so much in livestock, tea production, coffee, and all manner of commodity production. Honorable Speaker, if you look at this bill, it goes down to